Right, hey guys, welcome or welcome back. It's Paula here with a planning video. I have said this a little bit when I started sharing some plan with me's, but my plan with me's are going to be sort of random in as far as it's not going to necessarily be a specific week at a time. It's just going to be what I happen to need to come in and set up for that period of time. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump in with that. I set this up the other day, but I'm going to add a few more things to it now that things are just like a little more solid and whatnot, setting up what the week is actually going to look like. So I have these like Elena stickers, work stickers from I Love to Print that I printed. I'm using the wrong scissors because I took the other ones upstairs. It's a whole thing. So this upcoming week, we are over halfway through November. I truly have no idea how that happened so quickly. Like it was just the first. It seems like not very long ago. That's what my Wednesday is going to look like. I will work from home on Wednesday with my preschooler who does not have preschool. The Wednesday prior to that, I did have her go with my mom and I went out and did things. There was a little bit more, as long as I'm scheduling meetings like with my clients, I can really just do my schedule how it works best for me. There are some exceptions to that in other meetings and things that I really need to attend. I think I have a whole day on the road that day, out in meetings and such. Stay on Thursday. I have a staffing with my supervisor as one of the things that I'm doing. So I'm going to put this down. It's like looks like it, I feel like we're just analyzing the data, and it's a little bit different than that since it's people that I work with, but there is still some data analysis essentially when we are staffing cases. And I'm going to do another. I've had a lot of stuff the first half of the month get rescheduled. And so if something gets rescheduled, I have to have so many what's called attempts with each family. So if they reschedule once, I have to get them scheduled again. And then if they reschedule again, then that kind of frees me from my obligation. That's the 2 attempts that are required. The problem with that, well, sometimes is that it's just pushed it out. So I have a super busy day, a few super busy days this week because I had a bunch of reschedules from previous weeks where they were on the calendar and then had to be moved. So there is that. I also have a meeting this day, and I'm not sure why that didn't end up on my otherwise end up on my small calendar when I was putting this together. So we'll just put it here. I don't think it'll be that long, but I don't think I have anything else any of these other evenings except for that. I like to put Hoops Club. And then I got these things. These are all stickers that I have printed. Let's see. 1, 2. So here's the audiobook ones or whatever. And here is this is all what, red and black and brown. So if I'm looking for a comparable color, I surely don't like the reds together. What about the browns? That's better. These are also from I Love to Print. That's probably where that is where I found, I would say, most of, so like not most of, but the largest amount of stickers that I found in one place was from I Love to Print. So those worked out well. This is actually an audiobook visual, which it isn't wrong because you do listen to audiobooks. I don't typically listen to audiobooks. I listen to podcasts, but I am still going to put those things down here when I'm talking about what I'm tracking. I'm going to track what I'm reading and what I am listening to. Okay. In those rows all the way across, and then the tasks for the week that I'm aiming to do, I kind of fill those in as I go because it does depend somewhat on what we have going on. And then I want to make sure that I have these pages all set up for this week. So I have, Friday and Saturday. So now we're coming into Sunday, excuse me. And on Sunday, I don't, it's mainly set up just like it is. I wonder where those basketball stickers went. Did I somehow? They keep disappearing on me because I keep using them. Weird. So Sunday, he will have games from 1 to about 2:30. And I believe that is all that's on our calendar. Don't have to do it all the way across. Okay, then Monday, he has basketball at 5. To 6:15. And I have a meeting from 5:30. This is not the ruler that I usually use. I just straight up do not feel like going up to my stuff to get it right now because it's like, I usually do this stuff down here, but it just so happens that the I had been taking the rulers, or the straight edge things, have been going with me in my pencil case to work, and so they ended up kind of elsewhere. Okay, so that, other than work, is all I have for Monday. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, we just have a lot of basketball right now. From 6 to 7 is when that is. And sometimes I put additional things on these pages, you know, as the time gets closer, about, you know, where I might be during a specific time. But I don't have anything like that for right now. So I probably will just do a to 4. And this is a work from home day from seven to four. Nothing that evening. I was also going to put, I'll just another little indicator thing that I like to use when I'm working out on the road is another one from I Live to Print, and they are just cars. I spend a whole lot of time in my car. Monday and Tuesday, which is why it's such a bummer. My Suburban was doing some weird stuff. So, you know, for a while it was doing it for me and not for my husband. And he's like, it's not doing it for me, you know, like when I'd get home at night. And I'm like, it's straight up shut off this morning, like after I turned it on. Like, there is a real issue. This is not me, you know, being anything, which I'm usually not overreactive about that kind of stuff. So I'm like, there's actually a thing. So he drove it for a few days. So I've been driving his little Toyota Highlander, and I'm like, this is garbage. No, it's fine. It gets great gas mileage and it drives just fine. My stuff isn't there. I've moved some things over, but like I have a whole like comfy little office set up in my Suburban, and I don't have that here. So I'm adjusting to that a little bit. And me taking my kids within it is for the birds. That getting a kid back to the third row, now I know why my husband said he regretted it. I get it now. I'm on board. I agree. So I'm ready to have my Suburban back. Which, who knows like when that will actually be. He's ordering through this process. He decided that it was most likely, he's pretty sure, which is what mechanics is, a lot of ruling out, kind of like doctors. We have to rule out stuff rather than figure out what it is. That it is my fuel pump. So he is going to tear my Suburban apart and get a fuel pump ordered. And when it gets here, and like, friends, I try to buy local. I truly do. We do a lot of local business in our town, between personally and with our farm. And when I tell you the price of the fuel pump locally is double the one that I can get online, I mean it. And when I'm talking about bigger dollar items, like I'm going to spend $170 versus $450. I'm just going to every time. Like when the dollar amount is that high, I can't justify not doing it, or, doing it locally when, I have the money for the online fuel pump, and he tells me that it's a reputable brand. Sometimes you can get things online and it's, a brand that's, I don't know, a Chinese brand or something like that you wouldn't know, that you're just like, I don't know, it's a shot in the dark, it's cheap, I don't know how it works. But whatever brand it was, he's like, it's a reputable brand. I would feel comfortable doing it. So I was like, get her done. I got a wild hair the other day, and I don't know if anyone else does this. Like, it might just be me, but I was driving and I was like, I wonder what my Suburban's worth. So I'm looking it up and I'm like, let's sell my Suburban. I will drive the fuel efficient vehicle because I drive so much, and it would be great to be driving a more fuel efficient vehicle. And he doesn't like it, the Toyota, and we'll sell the Suburban, and that will fund the majority of getting him a van, because that's what he wants. He's a big old van fan. And I was like, let's do that. And he was like, well, like, I thought that we were like going to make this work for at least another year, because you were working on, focusing this year on the HELOC and whatever else. And I thought we had we were going to wait another year. And I was like, yeah, well, humor me. I don't know. Like, I got a wild hair. And so then he goes, well, why don't you drive the Toyota for a little while and see? And I was like, no, this is stupid. We don't need to spend money. And so then I end up having to drive the Toyota because, my Suburban is acting aloof, and we figure out, that it's whatever. So then I have to drive the Toyota, and I picked the kids up. Not picked them up, but I took them in the Toyota this morning. Typically they ride the bus. But I was feeling like, okay, if we can motivate them to get ready and like be reasonable this morning, I was like, if we can have a good morning and do what we need to do appropriately, I'm happy to take you in. So I dropped them off. One day of them climbing up and not being able to get out from behind, out of the third row, and just, I was like, oof, duh, we done. Nope. I'm going back to my Suburban, and I will work on getting him a van. This is for the birds. I ain't doing it. So one whole little drive it took me to get to that point. I'm not going to put anything else on Friday right now. Saturday and Sunday, the only thing I know for sure is basketball. What were those times? So 2 to 6. We'll be here. So we took everybody to, my son's games are like a half hour away from our house, which is not a big deal. That's not my point. It's in a town that has like these leagues, and so all these, towns that participate in it, they all drive over to this particular town for that. And we all went because I thought it was important, and my girls just struggled. So like the games are, I don't know, about 40 minutes. And then, so we had, for the second game, he didn't play. So he played the first game, and then he played the third game. And so that left, 45 minutes in between 45-minute games to whatever. And that was a lot. It meant no nap, which isn't huge because my girls have been pushing back on napping anyway. But yeah, So I was like, yep, not again. Next time one parent will go and somebody will stay home. So this weekend my in-laws are here and they're coming, well, for, a couple things, but one of them is to watch him. So I'm like, cool, this weekend I'll stay home with the girls. My husband can go and sit there through 3 games and I will go this weekend and take him and he can stay home. We'll see how that ends up happening in reality. We know that things don't always turn out the way that we might want them to. I always feel bad. Do you take all your kids when somebody has an activity? I always try because I feel bad. Like, my girls never get to go and watch. But then, like, they go and it's awful. They don't want to sit there that whole time. They don't want to, at least one of them doesn't want to watch and play basketball. And certainly not for that amount of time. She wants to go and run and play and do other things. Like, they're 4 and 5. It's not like these are teenagers or anything that I'm trying to make them enjoy spending time or supporting a sibling. Like, they're still pretty young. But anyway, that's forever and like, I just have this thing where I feel like both me and my husband should be at activities always, unless there's like a pretty good reason. I grew up with one parent who was a little less supportive. And, we all handle things differently, but that was something that I greatly struggled with through a lot of my life. So I'm like, we're all going. We're going to be there, and we're going to enjoy it, and it's all going to be fine. Even if we don't like it, we're going to pretend that we do. Because it's okay to just, and probably important to go support other people at things. Even if it's not our favorite thing, because it's not always about us. There are more factors and things that are important rather than, like my husband doesn't like basketball, absolutely hates it, loathes it. And basketball is by far my favorite sport. He's like, oh, it's the squeaking of the shoes. And I'm like, oh, that sound soothes my soul. But he's like, I just hate it. And I was like, well, you're going to suck it up for your kid. I feel similarly about wrestling. I do not like wrestling at all. For a variety of reasons. I don't enjoy it, watching it. And I had a whole lot of issues with the way that it used to be done. I hear that it's done differently now. I'm not sure. But when I didn't know basketball was a thing, I was offering to take my kid to wrestling 3 nights a week. Like, it's not always what we want to do. It's about giving them, for me, it's about giving them some opportunities. I get to decide, obviously, what those opportunities are. But I also think it's cool that, a lot of things. I don't know. I think my part of it is we were raised very, very differently. And I, for instance, it was like this huge privilege to get to go to sports because like there used to be an activity bus. I ain't that old. I'm not that old. Does anyone know what an activity bus is? Like the bus would take you. There was a bus that would run after practices or at least to like the hard surface road. So it would get us out like a quarter of a mile away from my house. And my parents would just have to pick me up there instead of coming all the way to town. Like my parents always made it seem like the 7 miles that we lived out of town was this huge thing, right? It was an inconvenience. I couldn't go hang out in town with friends and I couldn't go to sport. It was just like this huge thing. And I have vowed not to be like that. It really is like an 8.5 minute drive. And it doesn't, the cost of gas for multiple trips, but I'm like, I am certainly at a point where I don't have to be like, I'm not at a point where I'm concerned about having gas money to do that. So I'm grateful for that. And I've made promises that that is one of I remember talking with my dad before he died and he said, he was the farm, grew up out in the country, raised his kids out in the country. And he said, I would never encourage anyone to do that. He has some regrets from his childhood and I'm sure he had regrets from how it impacted his kids too. But he just said like, being in town where you're close to school, you're close to the activities, you're close to friends, like that's important for kids. And so I never really forgot that because I value all of those things, but I don't want to go back to, to living in town. So it's really made me cognizant of, I still want my kids to have the opportunities. I don't want them to miss out on everything because we live rurally. So I have no problem taking them to town, dropping them off for things. It really isn't that far. And the cost, yeah, like in my Suburban, it's a gallon of gas. By the time I do a round trip maybe, but okay, so I think now that was chatty. Sorry about that. This week is pretty much set up. It has all my meetings, appointments, and things on it for work. And then if I go to my day pages, Sunday, Monday, I don't like the way that looks. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's what the plan with me looks like today, guys. If you, I'm going to fix this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to do something different. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you being here. Until next time, bye.